The Trial of Eyevea Lore, Part 1. A Gift of Sanctuary. A little boy, scion of a wealthy house, once went to the lake shore with his parents on a holiday. While the elders sipped wine in a cabin with their snooty fellows, the boy was left to play in the sand and the mud. He was terribly sad at being so scorned and went searching for a friend. The boy did not have to search long. He found a wonderfully chatty duck in the reeds, who told him stories of places the boy could only dream of. Though he was quickly enchanted by the tales, the boy became melancholy that he would never see such a place with his own eyes. The duck laughed and told him that this was not so. They would build one together. The boy and the duck waded out to a small island on the lake, and together they built a tiny house of sticks and sand. This sufficed for an hour, until the duck suggested that the house was not a fitting place for the boy. He deserved a palace. The mortar of mud would not be enough, but one of the adults might help. The boy went back to the cabin and found a noble who had stepped outside to relieve himself, so inebriated he was. He was easily coaxed into following the boy back to the island, where the duck leapt and tore out his throat to use the blood and flesh for the mortar and bones for the beams. The boy was delighted, but the palace had to be bigger. Back he went, again and again, to collect the drunken folk to show them the magnificent palace. Again and again the duck added to the bits to the wondrous place, whose spires and arches dried to become alabaster and gold. When the boy's parents came to collect him, he took them to see his magnificent palace out on the lake. They screamed and ran, leaving the boy alone with the duck. He was not sad. Together they made merry on the island, until the mists closed in around it and spirited it away to a land of cheer and mirth for all time. The circus of cheerful slaughter. Happiness is loneliness, and loneliness is happiness. Happiness is loneliness, and loneliness is happiness. How the Kwama lost his shoes. In the ash and sand of stony falls, the little Kwama lost his way. He herps and derps to his mother calls, but volcanoes they do not sway. The forager passed him, burbling then, with sand and grit upon his back. He tripped and lost his front right shoe, and wished he'd bought some kind of snack. The worker roped him, chiding then, angry at the loss of time. He tripped and lost his back left shoe, and skittered legs past, up to climb. The warrior snarled him, fighting then, bites and snaps at nasty shulk. He tripped and lost both other shoes, avoiding monsters and things that stalk. The queen found him then, cries and leaks all down his face. She cracked his chitin for those lost shoes, and ate him squealing for his disgrace. Robbier's Vegetable Garden. A rich Breton named Robbier, often called Uncle by his neighbours, owned a great plantation whose crops fed dozens of villagers. Day and night his serfs worked the fields, plucking aphids and worms out by their fingernails if they had to, in order to make the produce the best and most delicious of Hypock. Then the creature invaded his fields. Beneath the noses of the workers, it devoured potatoes and cabbages, carrots and lettuce, radishes and beans. It stumped the efforts of the serfs to catch it. Sometimes people would think they had it, dive forward and grab it, and impale themselves on the tools left on the ground. Other times, the creature would sneak up behind them in broad daylight and push them over and break their necks. It was believed that Uncle Robbia was cursed somehow, and the creature was some kind of revenge for a person he had wronged in his past. The serfs abandoned the fields, willing to risk a week in the stocks rather than the death at the hands of the creature. Soon Uncle Robbie's fields were stripped bare by the ravenous creature, and even he began to believe the superstition himself. He locked himself in his chateau and pleaded to the divines, but they were silent. All Robbia could hear was the sound of the creature, scratching beneath the floorboards inside the walls and in his carpets as it devoured all he had left to eat. Huddled inside his bedroom in the dark of the night, Robbia watched as his last candle burned itself to a nub and went out. And then the creature devoured him as well. And so we come full circle. That is all of the Shalidor's library for the Elder Scrolls Online. That's all the lore books that are contained within the original part of the game. Every last one of them I've read in this playlist. It's been so long that my hair has gone grey, actually. It was grey when I started, I was just still dyeing it. But it's been actually years. Are there going to be more lore book readings? Perhaps in the future. There are, of course, many further books under the rest of the Elder Scrolls Eidetic memory. But I definitely don't have anywhere near as many of those, and they, in each section, are in the hundreds. So at some point we might be reading some of those as well. To give you a little update on what's happening on this channel, so there will be, of course, still updates, still Elder Scrolls Online updates, occasionally other games as well, but it will be limited to when there is new content coming out, house tour videos, of course, when I finish them, and the occasional build video as well. So do keep an eye out, do stay subscribed. Thank you very much for doing so if you are already. Don't forget, you can always follow me over at twitch.tv/IcyYIC, link in the corner and in the description. I stream the Elder Scrolls Online 4 days a week, so there is always ESO stuff happening over there. So do come over and say hello. Thank you so much for joining me for these videos. I can't believe we made it all the way through. Thank you. I'm Icy, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.